I love all three of the movies.
I'm sad we missed out on that Drink Blue Sea though. That sounds right up our street. Oh well.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Maybe when the next one comes out.
Oh God, right? I want a fourth one so bad because I love everything that this series has sort of picked up and ran with in like the greater shark ethos of films, because shark movies, we're used to seeing great whites. We see them in almost every single movie because of Jaws and because they're very striking looking. I love the Deep Blue Sea ones. Like, no, we're using makos. And then the second and third movie, we're using bull sharks. And the fact that they can go freshwater gives us so many cool options for stuff we can do. Like, a fourth movie could essentially just be river monsters, and I would watch it.
Oh, hell yeah. And John Pogue has hinted, when he was on the show, he said, Shark Week 2022. Nothing seems to be set in stone. I think that's kind of a goal, but we're counting down.
Yeah, I think I was yelling at him on Twitter one time where I was like, don't play with my emotions. This better be true.
And he hinted at that, and then Jay brought up our past characters coming back, and he's like, I don't know, but we want to. I would love to see Dr. Misty Calhoun and Aaron and Trent Slater. Trent Slater.
Every week.
Just bring them all back and have Poe direct them with the three survivors from 3.
Yeah.
River monsters.
And Preacher and Carter Blake, of course.
Preacher, Carter Blake. You could have Ronnie Cox from Deep Blue Sea.
Yes.
Wait, no.
Yes.
No, I don't know. But just do a Lake Placid versus Deep Blue Sea. I don't know how that works, but I don't know. Just bring alligators. And Dolph Lundgren. And Scott Adkins.
Ronnie Cox is still alive.
Okay, great. Yeah, bring Ronnie Cox back.
He's in post-production for a film called Demon Star. So, yeah.
I have a question. Do you think Deep Blue Sea 2 kind of hurt the reception of Deep Blue Sea 3? Because remember the push for Deep Blue Sea 2? It was quite large, and there was a lot of people who were very excited for it. Do you think the reaction to that hurt the reaction to Deep Blue Sea 3?
I actually did not see Deep Blue Sea 2 until I'd already seen Deep Blue Sea 3 because word of mouth got around from anyone who watches shark movies that Deep Blue Sea was like, oh yeah, it's the first movie, but way cheaper. And I think that it could have benefited so much more had it been not necessarily a direct sequel, but more of like a reboot. And I think that would have given them more creative freedom. And I don't know if it would have helped or hurt the comparisons to the first film, because obviously they were always going to be there, especially as a remake if it was one. But I definitely didn't get around to it because there was a lot of people I know who were just very disappointed by the second film in particular. And then I got to flip the script on them and was like, okay, but for real, the third one's amazing. You need to go see it.
Well, when the third one came out, the biggest reaction I heard from most people was, wait, there was a Deep Blue Sea 2? Let alone a 3. So I feel like had the second one been better, more people may have heard of it, and the franchise would have been picked up more and been more popular going on. But hey, 3 is great. So
the world needs to know Dr. Misty Calhoun, though. They need to meet Dr. Misty Calhoun because she's cool. She needs to go team up with Dr. Emma Collins. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were also talking about how I love how the lead actress in these films, they've all been doctors. It makes me happy. You have 3 doctors in Deep Blue Sea 1 through 3. A very learned group of horror movie villains antagonists and protagonists. It makes me happy.
Oh, absolutely. The way I usually sell people on Deep Blue Sea 3 in particular is that this is a shark movie for people who like sharks, and having a doctor as a main character, especially in like the later ones where there's a little less capitalist and nefarious means behind them like the first one sort of is. But I really love the idea of the sharks not necessarily being bad guys like they're usually treated, which, that's why we have Shark Week. And outside of the Deep Blue Sea movies, the only ones I can think of that really does that is a movie from the 70s called Mako Jaws of Death, which is about a guy who can telepathically communicate with sharks, and he just wants to live and have his happy little shark life, but all these people keep coming in and trying to kill his shark family and put them in a shark tank for amusement and stuff like that. And the sharks are actually the good guys in that movie. And I sort of secretly want that energy to be carried over to a fourth movie perhaps. But that's my fantasy booking. That's my version of oh yeah, but combine it with Lake Placid.
Oh man. No, that's a great point too, because in this one, I mean, Bella, I found it kind of sad. Bella gets killed in the beginning, just on fishing nets, and then the other 3, they're just going around eating. I think and then one of them gets kidnapped. Yes, it's such a great moment. It's next week, I think. But yeah, I guess aside from maybe killing the great whites, which kind of hurts my soul because, I just love those creatures. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just being genetically modified sharks who are pretty pissed off that humans have kind of murdered them and killed their mom and sort of made them Frankenstein creatures who will never be comfortable in water or land. So it's, I don't really look at them as the villains either, I guess. They're just hungry sharks.
Yeah, especially if they're going through a lot of teenage angst right now on top of everything else that's going on.
Their mom just died.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great point. These are just angsty teenagers listening to what? The Cure? What do you think?
Something a little more aggressive. This might be more towards like new metal style teens where they are just like, no one understands me but you, Fred Durst.
I tear my heart open. Yeah. Papa Shark.
Yeah.
Oh man. I like that. Wait, Papa Roach listening sharks. That's beautiful. Do you think that's what was Dr. Emma was listening to on her headphones earlier in the film? Some Papa Roach?
Oh, I mean, probably not, but if she was, I hope it would be something like Blood Brothers or Broken Home, obviously. Because I know the names of Papa Roach songs outside of Last Resort and Scars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I could. Yeah, Scars. That's a good one right there. I mean, Bella did have scars on her.
Oh, of course. It really relates to the sharks' experience. There's a lot of heartache in those lyrics for them.
Oh man. I feel, that's interesting. I never looked at them as angsty, genetically modified sharks whose mom just died from fishing nets. And now they're just taking it out on great white sharks.
They're just taking it out on everyone. But no, the way that they're Frankenstein monsters, I've always loved Frankenstein the most of like any sort of universal classic monster. And because I analyze transgender cinema so frequently, especially in the horror genre, I see a lot of these made monster type creatures, and I have a lot more sympathy towards any kind of animal run amok movie. Some of my favorite movies of all time are involving animals who are really just cursed with unfortunate circumstances. There's a movie from 1980 that is a giant alligator movie called Alligator, and it is one of my favorite movies. It brings me so much joy, and it's about an alligator that's bought at one of like these farms, like an alligator farm or something like that, and brought home as a pet, and the dad goes, oh, we're not doing this, and flushes the alligator down the toilet where it's basically exposed to chemicals and made more aggressive and grows to monstrous size, and then spends its time, the rest of the movie, eating the rich and the police because this is like an anarchist alligator, and it's amazing.
Oh my God. Who wins in a fight? That alligator versus Happy Gilmore and Ace Ventura. So those two against that alligator. Who wins?
Probably this alligator because he's like 40 feet long and can break steel.
They won't be able to work because they beat up crocodiles and alligators in their respective films. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all right. I like that. I want that movie now. Sorry, you just give me ideas for more movies and it makes me very happy.
Oh, cool. What if I could just be in like a writer's room for like big goofy animal run amok films, then that would be my life's goal. I'm not striving for it, but if I just lucked into it, then that would be amazing.
The Animals Run Amok writer's room?
Oh, of course. Most of my favorite movies, or at least some of my favorite movies that I love to share with people, are Animals Run Amok. For example, are you ever familiar with, this is completely unrelated to aquatic monsters, but a movie called Roar?
Oh, yes.
Oh, the Melanie Griffith one with all the lions, and Jan de Bont got scalped on it. That's a beautiful movie. I love it.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard many podcasts talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the most violent movie ever produced because people kept getting injured by giant cats the whole time. And it's supposed to be this, like, I don't know, Swiss Family Robinson, like a good time family movie, but it's horrifying. Everything about it is terrifying, and it's secretly a horror film.
I don't think I've ever been more stressed out watching a movie than I have watching Roar. It is, I mean, it's really neat watching it because this guy's just wrestling with these lions. He's just having fun with them. But at the end of the day, they're lions that could just, not really literally decapitate you with one swipe. But I mean, you just don't mess with these things. And reading about all the injuries, and I worked on film sets for years, and I know like the danger that people get put in. So I got stressed. I got annoyed. I was like marveled at the ambitiousness of this project. I thought everybody was insane. Yeah, you got to watch it. Oh man,
I will. Yeah.
Especially because it was produced over several years. So like this was an ongoing thing for this family. And then eventually the actual like lions and big cats actually broke out and like started terrorizing the city at one point while producing it.
It feels like the making of would be perhaps even better than the film.
Yeah.
I think they did make a documentary about it, if I'm not mistaken, because I think that's where I first heard about it.
The Nightmare
But I also love that movie so much that I own the soundtrack on vinyl, which has some weirdly creepy folk songs that open and close the movie on it, and I love them.
What did Waxworks put that out, or Mondo or something?
Oh, no, it's an original, I think.
Whoa.
It might be an old version. I got it. It was not new when I picked it up, but I went out of my way for it on like Discogs, so I have no idea who actually released it.
What are your thoughts about Crawl? Because it's a favorite here at DBS, the podcast.
Crawl is so much fun. We actually had a friend visiting from town, and she said, "Oh yeah, I tried watching Crawl, and I realized that there's like some certain amount of silly setup that you have to get into for any movie like this, but I just couldn't get into it." And I was like, "Please commit to it. Crawl is so much fun. Crawl is bananas and really wild, and also like actually very well made. It's a good like parental movie. It's a good animal movie. It's makes sense in like, you know, a goofy kind of way where it's like, oh yeah, we're flooding the entire house and you have to now climb it. Almost like Deep Blue Sea 1, honestly. But yeah, no, Crawl is so much fun. I love it. I saw it in theaters opening weekend.
Nice.
Bepep's poor arm in that movie.
Oh, right.
You talk about being tense watching Raw. I was just tense with that dog. I was just
paranoid
every second that the dog wasn't going to make it.
I want this dog to live.
That's a $13 million budgeted film, and it looks like a $40 million budgeted film. When I learned the budget of Crawl, my jaw hit the floor because just Aja can work magic with that stuff. And I liked Oxygen too.
Yeah,
sorry, I know it has nothing to do with Deep Blue Sea 3, but I dug Oxygen, and I thought Melanie Laurent was so good in that film. She crushes that. It made me happy to watch.
You need someone who's really talented to carry that film too, because it's basically just a 2-person show, you know, and her dad is either in pain or unconscious or not in the scene for a lot of the movie. So she really carries it, and it's so good.
Random question. What happens if it was Bella, the shark, instead of Melanie Laurent in that
Hang on.
in that pod?
In Oxygen.
Yes.
So,
do you think Bella could figure it out in time?
I mean, she wouldn't have any hands, which would be a disadvantage for much of the film. And I think as a viewer, we would miss out on Melanie Laurent's expressive face and incredible acting skills. So I think the version that they went with, not featuring a giant bull shark in the pod, but featuring a human actress, is the better version. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that.
I agree with everything you said, but imagine a 2-hour-long bull shark in a pod movie.
I'd watch it. 100%.
Everyone wants it. Sorry, I'm just pitching weird ideas here, and it makes me kind of happy.
At some point, we'll talk about the chapter.
Yeah, you're right. What do you think about the scene between Richard and Emma in this? Kind of getting back to their old ways together. Talking about buying each other. Wait, he'll never have to pay for a beer. So in this scene, is he going to be at a bar and just be like, "Hey, here's my chest. A shark, genetically modified bull shark, bit me." Like, does that get you free drinks? Is that what they're saying?
Well, I think what they're saying is that it's like, oh yeah, you'll impress all the girls and they'll want to buy you drinks and you'll get laid a bunch because you're so tough and cool and almost tragic because you almost died.
Yeah, well, she says you'll never have to pay for a drink the rest of your life, which is technically true. He doesn't.
Does she know stuff we don't?
Who could say?
Whoa. That's nefarious right there. I just love him walking into restaurants and like holding his shirt up, like, check this out, buy me a beer, give me a Heineken. Doing that.
I've bartended. I've definitely had people come in and like show off scars they've gotten for various reasons. Usually bar fights, which is not the thing you want to brag about when you're in a bar. But no, people will absolutely brag about like their battle wounds and stuff like that when they have these big scars. And I almost feel like this is him showing off like the elevated version of all those guys who pose with fish on dating sites.
Oh,
where their profile picture is always them with like a large bass or a big salmon. It's like, yes, this is my version of that. Isn't it even more impressive?
Showing off a scarf